interpretation of the Bible is going to be the one that's going to be reigning primary in these schools.
It's unfortunate. This is what happens when you have power and you use it for your own benefit. You end up hurting the people that you serve.
Christianity is going to make it all work, but it's actually not going to make it all work when you are forcing something on not all people who have those same values.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Pink Room XP once again. We're here with the co-hosts of the Pink Room, Theresa and Shonda. And today we have a very interesting topic, and we know this is something that has been sounding all over the place. Can the 10 Commandments in the classroom save our children? Can the 10 Commandments in the classroom save our children? Yes or no? We want to go into that topic, and we want to start by sharing with you the reason why we're having this discussion, because it's kind of trending right now in the United States, and there are a lot of questions around it. So we're going to share what the co-author, there was recently a bill who was written in the state of Louisiana here in the United States. There's a requirement for schools to actually post and have the 10 Commandments visible in the classroom.
Is getting blurred. The Republican governor just signed a law making Louisiana the first state in the country to require the 10 Commandments be posted in every public school classroom, from kindergarten through state-funded universities. The law specifies the commandments must be displayed on a poster or framed document that's at least 11 by 14 inches and in, quote, large, easily readable font. Opponents have now vowed to sue, and at least one high school teacher is saying he will defy that law, calling it nonsense.
It's just foolish legislation. I mean, what's going to happen? A third grader is going to walk in a classroom and see "Thou shalt not commit adultery" on the wall and say, well, I was really planning on committing adultery today, but since I read that on the wall, now I'm not going to do it. It's just nonsense. We have real issues. And
joining me now to discuss is one of the co-authors of House Bill 71, Louisiana State Representative Lauren Ventrella. State Representative, thank you so much for being with us to share your perspective. Does the bill specify what kind of penalty teachers like that will face?
There's not any penalty under the law. It's just a requirement that the classrooms should post what we know and believe is the moral fabric, the moral fiber of our country that should be on public display, that the school children should have the opportunity to read and be exposed to.
So when you talk about the moral fiber of our country, you realize that this country is an amalgamation of cultures, right? And different faiths. And even within Christianity, people don't interpret those commandments the same way.
Well, what's important about this bill and what's important to remember about this country is that whether we like it or not, Moses is in the Supreme Court of the United States. The 10 Commandments are in the Supreme Court of the United States. Moses is on the law in Congress. This is part and ingrained in our nation. This is a historical document that's important in Louisiana, because in Louisiana, we believe in faith, family, and freedom. And that is why I voted in favor of this bill.
Sure, but you also recognize that the Constitution of this country, its founding document, doesn't include the word God or Jesus or Christianity. And that's for a reason, because the founding fathers founded this country as a secular one. You don't see that?
I bet you CNN pays you a lot of money, and I bet you got a bunch of dollar bills.
What does this have to do with the network that I work for or what I'm getting paid? Don't make this about that. Answer the question. Why did the founding fathers not include God in the Constitution if they wanted this country to be the way that you see it?
Let me finish my statement. And
answer
your wallet,
the question and don't make this about me.
In God we trust. Well, make it about me. I got a dollar bill in my wallet.
All right.
Pardon.
Yeah. Where to start, right? I don't even know where to start.
Okay, let's start with the idea. Okay.
Well, you know, I think we need to put in a disclaimer here. And the disclaimer is that the 3 women that are hosting Pink Room are women of faith. It's important for people to know, because we're not, you know, we are not ignorant of the 10 Commandments and their value. And I think that's very important for people to know.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you, Teresa.
We're not ignorant of the value. We believe in the 10 Commandments, but we also know that people have a right to their own opinions and their own choices. Because also, as followers of Jesus Christ, we know that this is exactly the way he functioned and would have wanted us to function. So,
Like
free will.
free will
Free
will.
will.
and freedom,
Exactly.
like not control,
yes.
but freedom.
Exactly. And I think that's the part that's missing from this whole notion that if we post this, then it's going to make people more moral. I guess that's the idea behind
You
it.
know what's interesting, and where the logic, because I mean, this is, unfortunately, many people talk, but many people don't have, I don't know, they probably skipped their philosophy class when they were in college, right? But the logic here
Yep.
doesn't align. Okay.
Nope.
These are individuals that are, hey, family values, parents are
Family, what you said, family, faith, and freedom, right?
right?
Yes.
So family's the most important. Now tell me, how many of your parents are actually sitting down with their kids at home going over the 10 Commandments? Because if you really think that family is the, like the basis of everything, then why are you concerned about the public school education that your kids are getting, if that's where you have them? Because most of these people do not have their kids. These, politicians, the majority of them do not have their children in public school education. So it's hypocritical that they want to impose on other people's children what they need to believe or what not to believe. And I want to share with like I work for a faith-based school, and one of the things that I'm very proud of is that we do not impose our faith on any child that comes here. I'm very proud of that. We present, right? Even I used to be, I've taught science in the past, and whenever we had to teach about creationism and evolution, I would say to my students, it's your choice what you're going to believe. It's your choice. I'm not going to make you believe something, because you know what? You weren't there when everything happened. I wasn't there when everything happened. So this is, it's on you and what you consider is the most reasonable thing for you to believe.
Right. Shonda.
Listen, ladies. You know how you hear this, the politicians talk about, oh, we've got to cut down on government. Are you not government?
Yeah, hypocritical.
They logic. So church, state, you're blurring lines.
You see, that's the danger with this. And here's my, no, before I go into that. So this happened in Louisiana. And I think maybe days or a week later, Oklahoma Department of Education says that every teacher has to teach Bible. And let's share that video.
Yes.
So we people seem to be now driven by the idea that this is what we need to do as a country now, and we need to just.
With the latest in our state education leaders push for Christian religion in public schools. After a major Oklahoma Supreme Court decision this week denying a religious charter school, State Superintendent Ryan Walters doubled down by requiring all Oklahoma educators to teach the Bible effective immediately. I listened into today's board meeting, as I have many others, where it has become difficult to discern whether this is talk or action.
This Supreme Court has made some horrendous decisions. This is one of the worst.
This week, the Oklahoma Supreme Court ruled the Oklahoma State Department of Education must end its contract with St. Isidore, stating it is unconstitutional. It would be the nation's first religious charter school.
This would have been the most unique charter school in the country. So I want you all to know we will continue to fight back against this.
Fighting this, State Superintendent Ryan Walters is not. The Supreme Court denied his request to be a part of the lawsuit last November. Just days after the ruling, Walters issued a Bible mandate in all public schools.
We will be issuing a memo today that every school district will adhere to, which is that every teacher, every classroom in the state will have a Bible in the classroom, and we'll be teaching from the Bible in the classroom.
Walters pointed to state statutes.
Under Title 70, multiple occasions, the Bible is a necessary historical document.
I looked at Title 70. He didn't specify a section, and it's nearly 1,500 pages. It's only mentioned 4 times, 3 times under approved elective courses, and once as an approved record for a Greenwood scholarship. Enforcement is too early to tell. While Walters has passed controversial emergency rules, he has also said he will require the 10 Commandments in class, enforce prayer, and require religious training for teachers. That has not happened. Lawsuits already gearing up, including the same group behind the recent St. Isidore win. In a statement, Americans United says in part, Walters is abusing the power of his public office to impose his religious beliefs. Americans United is ready to step in and protect all Oklahoma public school children from constitutional violations.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so my general question here is Christianity has many branches and that means that every branch has its own interpretation, right? Not only Christianity, Judaism, Islam also.
Everything.
Every religion in the world, every denomination. Yep. Which one in particular is the one that's going to be the accepted one? And do I, as a parent, want an interpretation that it does not align with my family values? Are we taking this into account? Besides the fact that it's unconstitutional, right? Yeah. And it is a blurring of the lines, as Shonda said, with faith, with church and state. Whose interpretation of the Bible is going to be the one that's going to be reigning primary in these schools?
Yeah. You know, and I just want to point out that you could tell that this superintendent, unfortunately, is operating, under he was angry that things weren't voted in his favor for that religious charter school. No charter school should be religious. And you know what? I work for a faith-based school. We don't receive charter money.
Right.
Okay. And it's I don't know,
So what do we say to the people, Theresa? Because this is what we get, but we pay taxes. So our tax money should go where we want. So if we pay taxes and we're Christians, why can't this happen? What would be a response to these parents?
Well, what the reality is that within Christianity, we have 2 great divides, right? We have Catholicism and Protestantism. And let's just go with Protestantism. Okay. The amount of division within that faction is endless.
Right.
Endless. Okay. It's endless. So, the majority of Protestants are not all evangelicals.
Right.
Right.
They're not.
That might not be, I don't have the statistics. Okay.
Right.
But the reality is that not everybody believes what the Bible says in the same exact way. And I think that the reason that the Bible exists and it has ample room for interpretation is because your experience in, you know, your spiritual experience has to be a personal one.
You know,
It
and
has to be.
I also wonder, what do we say to the atheist or the Muslim or the
Yeah.
Buddhist who also says, but I pay taxes too?
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
You
You
have,
know, we're opening a door here that is going to create not only confusion, but
Mhm.
again, we're breaking up in factions that are unnecessary.
correct. Yeah,
You're
Go, Shauna,
creating,
go.
you're creating more division in a world that
are.
you're professing
And
that,
supposedly you claim that you don't want divisions, right?
right, and that this Christianity is going to make it all work, but it's actually not going to make it all work when you are forcing something on not all people who have those same values. World
Let's,
doesn't think
Isn't
like
it
that.
it's antithetical to the essence of what the United States was
stands
based
for,
on?
right?
Right. We look, why did we have these European refugees, right? Pilgrims finding refuge here in the United States. Like, they were asylum seekers. Why were they asylum seekers? Because they were running from being persecuted and being imposed on.
That's right.
They were being imposed on.
Right.
And the reason that this country was founded
Right.
Yeah.
without that religious
Right.
foundation that they claim that we have, it was founded because it was the only way to respect everybody's beliefs.
But it's interesting that the descendants of those are now reversing everything and
Yeah.
trying to rewrite history.
Yeah.
But
What
let's
they
go,
got, yeah, it's, you know,
because they don't even know their own history. That's
They-
what it is.
and not only that, it's just that, you know, I think as a human race, we forget, you know, and you know, doesn't it happen to us even as adults, right? You know, we start criticizing the younger generations, like, oh, look at what they're doing now, you know, and we forget
Right.
that we were there before.
So
We
let's go to damage control because there's a lot of damage happening here. Let's go to damage control. So what can we do to think about repairing some of this? Because I am holding on to, and I believe I agree with Shonda on, we're creating more division, even more division than is necessary, right? So what can we do? Damage control. How can we even start to repair some of this?
You know, and I mean, I have to say this before we go to damage control, and you know, thank you for letting me interject this. You know, we haven't even talked about the Jews,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
and the fact that we
Absolutely.
have a large Jewish population in this country,
And in New York, in the state of New York, there's a
who are
huge part, yeah.
Sabbath keepers.
Right.
And what are evangelicals going to do?
They're going to say that Sabbath is
This Sunday.
Yeah.
When the 10 Commandments clearly says that the Sabbath is Saturday.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So damage control.
Damage control. Oof. I think
Don't
go for it.
this mandate into public school systems. They're public. They're not private.
That's
Your
right.
personal values and views should not be a mandate in a public setting.
That's right.
It's just like you're trying to remove democracy from a world where democracy is supposed to exist.
Exactly.
Don't put it in.
That's
the damage code. Period with a T.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, and it's evident that he wants things done his way. He's giving the mandate because I'm sure that if he were to have consulted with all of the teachers that are under his supervision, all of the superintendents that are under his supervision, like, this is not something that everybody would agree with.
right.
But you know, it's unfortunate. You know, this is what happens when you have power and you use it for your own benefit. You end up hurting the people that you serve, and that is a reality that we have. And I think that for damage control, I'm calling out on, you know, the legislature and the judicial system in Oklahoma, the everybody who is in some service position, because they're servants, and remind this man that he's there to serve all the students in Oklahoma, not only his evangelical students, all of his students,
and even for those in Louisiana with this whole 10 Commandments mandate.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would yes, go ahead.
No. I just think it's illogical. There's no reason. It goes against the values that this nation holds dear, and that is that there's a separation of church and state. And we have seen what happens to a country when religion puts its tentacles, organized religion puts its tentacles on government.
Right.
We've seen it.
Like
just
that.
read your history.
Right.
It's tentacles.
It's tentacles. That's right. Right.
And it tends to corrupt in a way that is so damaging to society.
And it takes decades, maybe centuries to read about.
Centuries to correct, right?
I think, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interject. Just because what religion, and maybe I'm just oblivious to what religion oppresses?
It should never oppress. But we know that it happens.
Right.
Historically, it's
when
there.
Humans take it and
right. Exactly. So
when we want to control,
right.
And they use and religion is used to oppress. And it is, look, it's all over, everywhere.
No, everywhere. Even in Christianity.
Unfortunately,
there is oppression. There is oppression.
Right?
I want to add, just to close this segment, because we could go on forever about this, that we need to remember, as damage control, the minute what I believe to be my rights starts to encroach upon the freedom of someone else, it stops being my right.
That's right.
Oh,
and we need to remember that. Even this idea that we must vote according to our religious beliefs. No, sir. We vote for her freedom, his freedom, because it also means my freedom. The minute I begin to vote, because you know what? I don't believe in abortion, so I'm going to vote. The minute I do that, I need to be prepared, because tomorrow it's going to be something.
It's going to be my freedom that's going to be taken away.
So this is such a tight line, and I want us to finish the discussion here, because I get so passionate about it, because we get it wrong all the time.
Yeah.
We want to vote based on our religious beliefs. We cannot. We need to vote our conscience within imperfection, because none of these parties are perfect. We need to vote our conscience, but we need to remember that the minute I vote because they're taking away someone's freedom, they're gonna come for mine. They're going to come for mine. And that needs to be clear. And we see that happening now over and over again. So that would be our thing that we want to leave with you today.
Absolutely. And for those of you, please consider this, that for those that consider themselves Christ followers, that you consider yourself to be a Christian, study Jesus, study his MO, study what he left as an example. He did not impose himself on other people. And the whole purpose of his sacrifice was for freedom.
That's right.
Not for control.
That's right. Thank you, everyone. We are excited about this Pink Room XP. We invite you to our last one next week. That will be our last Pink Room for
the season.
And then we start back up again next year. So please, again, we hope that you are encouraged to stimulate your mind to think deeper about these things. More importantly, start having the conversations with those in your circle. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Shonda, once again.